Hello, everybody, and welcome to another virtual edition of Words from Behind the Desk, presented by Arwani Law Firm. Please, if this is your first time seeing us, we appreciate you so much for joining us again. We ask that you like us, share us, post us, whatever the comment with us, join this live stream with us. We're really excited to have a conversation today, and I am truly honored. Today on Words from Behind the Desk, we have Tomas Lares, who is a person who stands against human trafficking and modern day slavery. So when I tell you I'm excited about this conversation, I am excited and a little nervous as well, because the more information you have, the more you realize that there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Rania Arwani, who is usually here with me as, life happens, had a last minute emergency that, fires, trying to put things out as an attorney here in Florida. Rania is always working. And so, of course, when something comes up or when a client needs something, there Rania is. And so, guys, I'm so excited to get this conversation started right now. I don't know if I mentioned who I am. My name is Vakaira Fai. I'm usually here with Rania Arwani. Rania, we will miss you. But we do have Tomas here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Tomas right now so we can get started in the conversation. Hello, Tomas. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Very good. Tomas, I'm excited about this conversation just because, again, I feel like there's so much work that still needs to be done. But before we get into all of that, can you please tell us a little bit about who Tomas is?
Sure. So my name's Tomas Lares. I am the founder and president of United Abolitionists, which is a nonprofit based here in Central Florida. And I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but came down for college and never left Florida because I figured out how warm it is during the winter. So, little fun fact.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And so you've been in Florida now for how long?
So I've been in Florida for since the '90s. I'll say that.
So have you always been in Orlando?
No, so I started off in Lakeland at Southeastern University, and that's where I did my undergrad. And then after being there and working for the school as well, I went to Melbourne, Florida, on the beach, and found the beach life here in sunny Florida. And so I was in Melbourne for 10 years, and then in 2006 moved to Orlando.
Very cool. And Thomas Lares is the founder and president of United Abolitionists, formerly Florida Abolitionists, Inc., and the Tri-County Alliance of Human Trafficking. Just a little bit of a nutshell of what it is that you're doing for us in our city without us even knowing it. Okay, so you've made Orlando now your home, and now you've decided to make your life's work about stopping human trafficking. And I mean, when I think about that, I know how much it takes for a person to choose to decide to wake up every single day and go and live it for other people and helping and pushing forward when somebody else doesn't have strength, but you try to find strength for them. What is it that caused stopping human trafficking to become your life's work? What was that turning point for you?
Well, it's definitely a calling for me because it's not something that I necessarily chose, but I feel like it chose me, even starting from my time in Lakeland at Southeastern. My first job was Big Brothers Big Sisters there in Lakeland, and started seeing abused children. And my undergrad was psychology, so it really fit what I was studying, and then I was learning by experience that there was child abuse going on, and I was just very disturbed by that. And part of that was just really the beginnings of my preparation, Vakai, and into my next job when I moved to Melbourne, Florida, and I worked for an agency there that in the school program actually, where I saw more abused kids, and couldn't believe that. At the time we didn't know it was human trafficking. We just thought it was horrible child abuse. But I remember a 5-year-old girl who was being sold by her mother to various men for drugs.
Wow.
And so that was really the first time I saw human trafficking, although again, at that time, they didn't call it human trafficking.
Wow. That is difficult to even come in. I can't fathom that you saw it as so repetitively in your life that you're kind of right that it seemed to call you versus you being called. It just sounds like you were very aligned with this becoming your passion, your why. That's how did you start educating yourself or creating the want to figure out, well, that's not right, why is that happening, and what can I do to prevent it from happening in the future?
So in Melbourne, I ended up becoming the assistant director and co-founder of a child abuse agency called Links of Hope, which still exists today there in
Wow.
Brevard County. And part of that, during that time, we had been a part of different grants by, at that time was the Faith-Based Initiative, and ended up going to Washington for training and also replicating our model. And one of those trips was a divine appointment that I met the U.S. Senator Sam Brownback from Kansas, and
Wow.
this was July 2004. And at that divine appointment, the senator was introducing his staff to the issue of trafficking in persons, which is a report that our State Department issues every June. And so that was the June 2004 edition that he presented in July. And I was beside myself, Akai, to hear that there was modern day slavery occurring, and that people were being enslaved and used for sex and labor trafficking.
That is, it's so difficult because we've heard about slavery before, like in our history books, in our textbooks, as Americans, we have a connection or a thought process with that already. But right now, today, it's like, well, aren't we done with that? Didn't we? Isn't that a thing of the past? Why does it still exist? And I mean, that is kind of a question. Why do you feel that it has been able to still exist right now? I thought that we put that
Yeah.
in the past.
That was the very impression that impacted me that day. Was, I'm a fan of history, so I one of my favorite stories growing up was the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman, and how she helped lead many slaves out of the South during that time. And so that day I thought about, wow, how is this happening? And I thought, there was the anti-slavery law of 1865 by President Lincoln. There was the abolitionist of the 19th century. And I came back to Florida, still working with Links of Hope, and said I need to do something about it. And so that's when I did my homework, and I found out that Florida had one of the first cases of modern slavery called the United States versus Tecum. And I had the privilege of meeting the advocate at that time that discovered that case in Immokalee, Florida, which is suburbs of Fort Myers, where people are being brought from other countries, and particularly this case was Guatemala, and made to be slaves in the fields of Immokalee and also domestic servants in the home.
Wow. That is ridiculous. It's interesting that you talk about that because last night, and I know we didn't even have this conversation before, but last night I literally just watched with my family the Harriet Tubman movie. And my son, he's 13, and he it's not a Marvel, it's not an Avengers, it's not anything like that. And so for him, he didn't understand why it was important for him to watch that movie with us. And it's such a part of our history, right? Like, it's our history. We're here today because of this person, one of these people. I think that it's extremely important to know our history, but it's crazy when you're talking about history being something of the past, but you're talking about something that is still happening. And when we're talking about it's still happening, like it's still happening like one time a year, you find a case, or what are the statistics like? Because I think that people don't think there is modern day slavery. There is a lot of human trafficking. Maybe that's the thought process. That's why it's so easy for us to push it to this out of our head, because we don't think that it's as pungent as it is in our community. Can you speak a little bit about us Floridians, Orlandoans? How pungent is it here in Florida?
So yeah, part of this is like a dual realization in that, the slavery from old, right now, it still impacts us with what's even occurred this year with Black Lives Matter, because all those were part of the systemic, um, really the impact from people not wanting slavery to end, right? So there's Jim Crow, there's discrimination, there had to be the civil rights movement in the 60s. And so all that we're still feeling today was the effects of slavery. And so that is one aspect we're still feeling today. It's very relevant. The second thing, Vakai, is now modern day slavery has evolved. So it may not be people being, on a plantation, right? And now it's somebody being a captive in their own room, being recruited on the internet, being recruited by somebody they think is their friend or boyfriend right there under in the household of any family, really, because everyone is connected to the internet and has access to those apps or to those sites.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that is, it's disheartening to think about that. But I know that your website offers so many resources also to talk about traits or signs or things you can kind of look at to be aware if there's a situation that doesn't seem like it's right to you. There are certain things that you can maybe pick up on to see whether or not whoever you're seeing could be in that situation. And just so everybody can know, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, stophumantrafficking.com. Please, if you're looking for more information, resources, more information about how you can get involved, please visit stophumantrafficking.com. Let me see here. And then Tomas, I know that you have, so sorry, this is live and that is my son in the background. What is your latest project that you are working on right now? I know that there's so many things that you're doing. There's so many things that you're doing to try to educate the public on human trafficking. What is the latest one that you're working on?
So one of the latest projects that we're really excited about is it's bringing awareness, right, of the issue. What does modern day slavery look like? And so we have the opportunity um, to have our first mural that's public. We've done a mural in a residential human trafficking shelter already, and that happened about 2 years ago here in Orange County, Florida. But now we're going to make it public, and it's going to be even more expanded to include just what does human trafficking look like, right? It's going to be multiple survivors, not their actual picture, because of privacy and confidentiality, but it's symbolic of uh, men and women. Human trafficking doesn't discriminate on race or ethnicity or political affiliation or gender, and so it's going to really symbolize what does someone victimized or survivor look like. And so we're going to be releasing that a week from today at the Arwani Law Firm in downtown Orlando on Washington Street. Rania's law firm in her building. And so this is a huge project because it's going to be something that the whole world can see.
Right. And Emily's Hope is the name of it. And who is Emily?
Well, Emily is a survivor who gave us permission to really dedicate this to her and to all the survivors that have been recovered, and also those who have not been recovered yet. So we call it Emily's Hope, and it's going to again feature that there is hope, right? In the midst of darkness, in the midst of the evil of human trafficking, there is hope. I think I lost your volume, Makai.
I'm so sorry. You're right. I said I'm so excited, Emily's Hope. I'm so excited about the unveiling of it and to show it to our community, right? Because our community is a part of it, and that's why it's on display for them and for them to join the fight, essentially, right? Just going down, taking a picture, using the hashtag stop human trafficking. It's very simple. You have one main cause and posting that, how fast that can spread to make people aware again, right? That we're still in it, like the fight isn't over yet. There's still things happening underneath our nose in our community, could be next door to us, could be down the street from us. We just never really know. Is there anything else that you can think of that's important for our community to know
Well,
about trafficking and modern
yeah,
day slavery?
yeah. Well, like I said, it doesn't discriminate based on who you are, and the many cases that I've seen here in Central Florida and beyond have been, somebody that is homeless that gets
Mhm.
trafficked. It can be somebody that's with their family in a very upper class social economic situation. It can be somebody that thought they were getting a job, right? And so there's
Mhm.
also labor trafficking, not just sex trafficking. And so these different ways these criminals, these traffickers, these pimps recruit and groom the victims, again, whether it's sex or labor, is occurring right here in Florida and in every state. And what's really concerning is during this the, the pandemic of COVID-19,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of recruiting. There's been a lot of um,
Recruiting.
grooming going on with
What?
younger kids. Um, According to all the different reports, hotlines, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there's been an uprise because you have now a captive audience, right?
Hmm.
Kids are on devices all day, and
Mm.
so that's very concerning that that it's growing.
Wow. And there's been some laws that were passed and some anniversaries that are coming up. Which are the anniversaries that are coming up soon?
So October 28th is the 20th anniversary for our federal law called the Trafficking Victims Reauthorization Protection Act. And
Mm.
God bless you.
Thank
And
you.
that is since 2000, October 2000, when
Mhm.
Congress and President Clinton signed into law our modern day slavery law.
Wow, that's incredible. And I know your fight isn't over yet, and I know that you do it every single day. Is there anything that we as a community can do anything to help you, or is there anything the organization needs? How can somebody take action right now? Like if somebody's hearing this and it's like, okay, I had no idea, let me go get educated, but what's something that I can do today or tomorrow to help in the fight to stop human trafficking and modern day slavery?
I would say first of all is get educated.
Mm.
Now that you're aware, get some training. There's many wonderful non profits and also governmental training platforms and courses that they can utilize to really equip themselves with what are the signs of human trafficking? What
Mhm.
does that look like in my community? And so connect with a training. We offer training at stophumantrafficking.com, but just get involved with
Mhm.
getting that knowledge is power, and so I would first of all promote that.
Knowledge is definitely power. And I don't know if we discussed it, but how does Florida rank on on the national scale of human trafficking and modern day slavery? Are we number?
So all we have right now is there's no. Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There is no central kind of clearinghouse or
Mhm.
database, unfortunately, in the United States. All we have is the hotlines, the National Human Trafficking Hotline through Polaris Project in DC, and then
Mhm.
the states, like in Florida, we have the Abuse Hotline for minors
Mhm.
that's tracking. We know that Florida is number three in the amount of calls coming into the national
Mhm.
hotline. There's also a large amount coming into our the Department of Children and Families Abuse Hotline. And
Mhm.
so we know we're number three in the country on calls, but we believe that, those are just a fraction of those being trafficked or about to be, because we know most people don't report.
Yeah, don't report and can't change anything until it gets to the point of being stuck or hurt or it's I can't even. I have children. Like to fathom, to think about it, it hurts my soul. And I know it's not just me saying this, I think there's a group of people, there's a whole community behind your back saying that we appreciate everything it is that you're doing. We appreciate you getting up every single day and saying, today, I'm going to save somebody. I'm going to save a life. You know what I mean? I think that speaks volume for who you are as a person. And I appreciate it. We appreciate it. You have our support, and thank you. Like, just thank you for everything it is that you're doing for us without us even having knowledge of it.
Well, it definitely, thank you, Akai, for those words. It takes a village. It really has been the power of what I call the power of collaboration. We have faith groups involved. We have community groups involved. We have law enforcement, federal, state, and local partners. It really is taking a village. And I really feel like this is the time, and especially with us even displaying our Emily's Hope mural next week, which the whole public will see it, is that there is hope. That's again why it's Emily's Hope. In this era of the Me Too movement and the time we've seen in this past year, the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, that's really just a cutting edge or a sample of what's really happening in our communities with human trafficking. Those are things that get publicized, but it's happening every day to people, foreign born, domestic, adults, minors, men and women.
You're absolutely right. And so it shows that there's a lot of work still left to do. Again, if you're looking to get educated, if you're looking to see how to get involved in the organization, how to volunteer, how to donate your time, how to do resources, whatever it is that you can visit stophumantrafficking.com. Tomas, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here with us today. Next week, we are doing the unveiling of Emily's Hope on the Arwani Law Firm building in downtown Orlando. This is a moment for us as Orlandoans. I am honored to be a part of it. We're in a revolution right now, and it's enough. Like, it's been enough, long enough. We're in 2020. It's time for change. And I'm excited to be a part of the change with you, Tomas. And we appreciate you being here today to talk to our audience, just so they can get educated, just so we can do our part as much as possible. And thank you again, Tomas, for waking up and going to sleep every day to some things that we will never be able to fathom or understand or even hear. The stories you've had to have heard have to be, I can't. But Tomas, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody, this is Words from Behind the Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be here next week with Alejandro, actually the man who painted the mural on the side of the Arwani Law Firm building. I'm excited. The unveiling will be next Wednesday. Guys, we're excited to show you a little bit of the footage. Remember, you can go to stophumantrafficking.com for more information. Tomas, thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Akai, and please thank Rania as well.
Absolutely.